Good afternoon. Welcome to Inside Indiana Sports Now with Kent Sterling. It's Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. We're brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill, the best dentist that there is. He's been my dentist the last 28 years. He can be your dentist starting today. Call him 317-849-2933. Hit subscribe, hit like, ring the bell. Let's go. Let's talk about sports. I want to talk about the Pacers, and I want to talk about the Colts. First, the Pacers. What do they need this offseason? Yesterday, we talked at length about Ben Simmons and what an ill fit he would be on this roster, or really any roster, but especially in Indiana, because we're smart here. And we understand that if you can't shoot, you can't play. Ben Simmons can't shoot. In his 4-year NBA career, he's 5 for 34 from beyond the arc. Please, that's terrible. For a point guard, my God. No wonder the 76ers can't get deep into the playoffs, and no team with Ben Simmons eating up 35% of the salary cap is going to get deep into the playoffs unless he learns how to shoot, which is really, really unlikely at this point. He's a week away, 6 days actually, from turning 25. So, what do the Pacers need that they don't already have, and how can they get it? That's the question. It's got to be through trade. Free agency is not going to be a place where the Pacers can go out and get what they need unless they really take apart this roster. Right now, they're over the cap for 2021-2022. They are about $15 million shy of the luxury tax, so there's that. But they bring virtually everybody back. Not Doug McDermott, not TJ McConnell, at least not yet. But here's what they got. They got Malcolm Brogdon, who last year scored 21.2 points a game. They got Karis LeVert, 20.7 points per game. Sabonis, 20.3 points per game. Warren, in the bubble, not last year. He only played 4 games last year. 19.8 points per game in the 2020 season. How about Myles Turner? 12.6 points a game, 12.7 points per game for his career. So that's kind of who he is at the age of 25. All right, and only 6.6 rebounds. That's not so good. How about Lamb? Jeremy Lamb, 10.1 points per game. Justin Holiday, last year, 10.5 points per game. Aaron Holiday, 7.2. Goga Batanza, 5.1. Edmund Sumner, 7.5 points a game. Like, it's baked. This is your roster. They've got the 13th overall draft pick. You can go get a guy at 13 who should be able to start. You look at guys, and this is not usual, but it's 2 of the last 6. You've had Devin Booker, who was an immediate starter for the Phoenix Suns, and you've got Donovan Mitchell with Utah, who's an immediate starter and a guy who went out and got 20 points a game his rookie season. So it's there at number 13 to elevate what this roster is. Other than that, you got what you got. And there's not a lot of movement that can be done. Now, depending on who you get at 13, maybe you can move a piece here and there. Maybe you decide, you know what, after talking to Rick Carlisle, Carlisle says, I don't know what to do with Myles Turner. I mean, what the hell? I don't like throwing him in the corner and feeding him the basketball people sag off as a defensive spacing technique and then using him on the other end as a rim protector, which he's really good at. But offensively, as a spacing device, I don't like him, and I don't think he's got the game to be able to go down to the post and get points in bulk. I like Sabonis better, so let's move Myles Turner. What are you going to get from Myles Turner? That's the thing. Do you have a GM out there who covets Myles Turner? If you do, and you can get good return, this is the deal with trades. All right, the trade isn't just about who you're giving up. The trade is about who you're going to get in return. Everybody is tradable depending on the return that's offered by the opposing general manager, right? That's the way basketball works. That's the way being an executive works. It's not just about what are you paying, it's about what are you getting. So, even for those of you who are diehard Myles Turner fans, if somebody's willing to offer back what you believe is good value, if not great value, there you go. Take that and consider it a win. Here's the deal. Kevin Pritchard has been really good, I think, with trades. Oladipo for LeVert, that was a terrific trade for the Pacers. How about Paul George for Oladipo and Sabonis? That was outstanding. Kevin Pritchard can make a trade and make it work for his team. What the Pacers need, what they have to have, and you can see it in the playoffs right now in the NBA Finals. You've got Giannis Antetokounmpo on one side, 15th overall pick 8 years ago. Then you've got Devin Booker. Like I said, he was the 13th overall pick in 2015. You've got Chris Paul, early draft pick, right? One of the best point guards in the history of the NBA. You've got DeAndre Ayton, who is a number 1 overall pick. You've got other guys for the Bucks who are highly drafted. You've got to go out and get really good players. You have to have 3 who can absolutely play, and I think right now the Pacers have one of those guys. They've got Domo Sabonis, who I think can be part of a big 3. You got to get the other 2 pieces. And until you get the other 2 pieces, you're just kind of, running on that treadmill in the middle of the NBA, which is where the Pacers have been for virtually even more than the last 25 years. They've been kind of in this holding area where they've been good but not great. Sometimes they've been really good but not great, but mostly they've been good but not great. If you get Rick Carlisle, who knows how to coach basketball, and if you've got guys coming back at full health, if TJ Warren can play 70 games next year, Myles Turner can play 70 to 75 games next year, Sabonis is an every night guy, Brogdon plays 65 to 70 games next year, LeVert is back for the long haul and can go, deep into the regular season to be healthy for the playoffs. Is this a good enough team to raise a little bit of hell? Can they win 53 games with what they've got right now on that roster? If they're healthy and with Rick Carlisle pulling the right strings. That's the question. That is an interesting question, and that's the question that Kevin Pritchard is spending nights trying to answer. He and his staff are meeting constantly trying to figure out the answer to that question. Do they have the stuff right now to compete in the Eastern Conference and maybe make a push to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals? I don't think so. You got to get a guy at 13 who's dynamic and can change the DNA of this franchise. Without that, I think you got real trouble. They've got a pre-draft workout tomorrow, do the Pacers, and these are kind of also-ran guys. They're not going to take any of these guys at number 13. Jose Alvarado of Georgia Tech, I've seen him ranked as high as 77th. Delano Banton of Nebraska, I've seen him at like in the 90s. Shundi Brown of Michigan, I don't see him ranked at all. Sharif Cooper of Auburn, kind of interesting. I've seen him ranked into the 20s. Jalen Crutcher of Dayton, and then Mac McClurg of Texas Tech, who is, he's a guy maybe you invite to Summer League. That's what the Pacers have coming in tomorrow. Of the guys that they've already worked out, boy, oh boy, Moses Moody was very, very impressive. Kai Jones, impressive also. Those 2 guys worked out together and they worked out alone. Not the usual 6. It was just those 2 guys. If Moses Moody is available at 13, I love Moses Moody. I like everything about him. The more I watch tape of what he did at Arkansas, and after listening to him talk to us during that Zoom call at the pre-draft workout, I love that guy. He's long. I don't like talking about length because I get worn out by hearing people talk about length. Oh, he's long. He's a +7. Oh, he's a +9. Okay. What the hell does that do for you? I know. It gets you deflections. I heard Tom Crean for 9 years talk about deflections. Did Indiana ever go to an Elite 8? Because they had really long guys who led the world in deflections? No. You got to have people who can shoot. Come on, Tom Crean. You're better than that. The Colts, they open camp in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today. The first public practice will be 2 weeks from tomorrow. The 2 practices that I would target, if you're a fan and you want to go to practices, the 2 joint practices against the Carolina Panthers immediately prior to the game against the Carolina Panthers, the one home game that the Colts play in the preseason. Those are the 2 practices. Other than that, they're all about the same, and they're all a lot of fun. You can see stuff, and you can see one-on-one work, and if you know what to look for, you can kind of get an insight as to who's going to be what. Is Kwity Paye going to be able to play? Dayo Odangbo Is he going to be able to go? He's got the surgically repaired Achilles. How about Eric Fisher? We're going to watch him. We're going to watch Jacob Eason. We're going to watch Carson Wentz, of course. We're going to look at Paris Campbell, see how healthy he is. Marlon Mack, how healthy is he? One guy that Colts fans have been kind of clamoring for, because we know that the cornerback position is not a position of strength for the Colts. As long as you've got Rock Ya-Sin as a potential starter, you know that that's an area of need. Richard Sherman was a guy who had been discussed by fans for a long time. 10-year veteran, a guy who played really good football with Seattle, not too bad the last few years with the 49ers, and he's a free agent. Well, last night he got arrested. He got arrested and he's a party in 2 different investigations stemming from incidents earlier this morning. One was a burglary domestic violence incident, and the other was a hit-and-run accident. They found his car abandoned, and then they found Richard Sherman at a residence of a family member, and big trouble for Richard Sherman, who at the time we're doing this is being held without bail in Seattle. So that's what you got with Richard Sherman. Regardless of the outcome of those investigations and whether Richard Sherman is charged, the Colts, they don't like drama. They are a drama-free zone. They don't like distractions. They're a distraction-free zone. How many times have you heard about a Colt getting in trouble and being a party to investigations like this? Now, we had Danico Autry last year, right? I think he forfeited his security deposit and incurred a fine at his place of residence, an apartment in Indianapolis, because of some smoke damage that occurred. So why is he no longer a Colt? That might be the reason. Colts, they don't play that. They want guys who are laser focused on football. That's what they want. Richard Sherman, whatever was going on last night, that wasn't about football. And that bothers Chris Ballard. It bothers the Indianapolis Colts. And for that reason, they are not going to be a party to any kind of negotiations for Richard Sherman, or at least that's my read after watching Chris Ballard do this for a while. He is not a guy over the last 4 years that we've seen really go after. It is not just win, baby, with Chris Ballard. He is not the second coming of that Raiders Al Davis kind of mindset. He is not a disciple of the Al Davis just win, baby philosophy of roster aggregation. That's not the way they work. British Open starts tomorrow, and I gave you 2 picks earlier today, and I want to tell you with one, I'm not predicting that this guy's going to win the British Open. All right, Stuart Sink is at 125 to 1. I think the odds of him winning the British Open are really about 50 to 1. So 125 to 1, I see as value. Now, is it likely that Stuart Sink is going to win the British Open? No, it is highly unlikely. But at 125 to 1, I think you get good value. Now, the other guy I think has a real chance to win this tournament, and that's Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth is 20 to 1. He's played really good golf this year. He plays exceptionally well at the Open Championship. I think Jordan Spieth can win this tournament. John Rahm at 7 to 1 is not interesting to me. Jordan Spieth at 20 to 1, that's interesting to me. And if I were a sports investor, I would be investing in Jordan Spieth. How about Major League Baseball? Last night, the All-Star Game, the American League won 5-2. That's their 8th straight win. I am bored out of my mind with the All-Star Game. It used to be kind of cool to watch National League guys play against American League guys, matchups that you would never see otherwise. And the unbelievable grouping of talent in the All-Star Game was really, really cool to see one league play against another. And they played so hard against each other most years that you thought that there was some wagering going on behind the scenes, like when Pete Rose trucked Ray Fosse. Was that just for the pride of a National League win, or was that Pete Rose taking money out of some American League guy's pocket? I think that's what it was. Anyway, I like that. I like the idea of guys playing to win. I didn't see a lot of that last night. Tomorrow morning, Breakfast with Kent. Can't wait to talk to you then, bright and early. 8 o'clock, let's go. And The British Open, early morning coverage. Are you kidding me? How much fun is that?